Well, it's a long and intricate story. I told you bits and pieces of it, and you can only really tell bits and pieces of stories because there are always many stories. It's like time was stood still here or something, and I like that.
I believe a lot of it has to do still with that wonderful, authentic experience. And whether it's authentic people, whether it's authentic outdoors, whether it's authentic touring, it's very much pure. It's not made, it's not created.
You know, to do a full circle of the trail and travel a trail, we can all work together and we can all, you know, give people the best experience as they travel around the trail. So it's really neat to, you know, have a network and a cool crew of young people to give people these experiences.
Life in Cape Breton's never easy, you know, as far as making money. But there's this whole community of us business owners that work together and we scratch each other's back. High tides lift all boats, and that's kind of what we're trying to build here. There's a big future ahead of us if we all stick to our guns and do it, and I feel like we all are.
Without some of these businesses, you wouldn't be going into these communities. It's our businesses that actually expand the perspective on what's actually here in Cape Breton, because otherwise you're just in a car.
It's like a song, you know. It has verses, lyrics, meaning, and you sing it. You either live life or life lives you, and I can't figure out which one it is, but I think it's the last one. I think it's life lives you more than you actually live life. Yeah, this is where we live. We chose to live, or this place chose us. I'm not sure which one.
The separation of Cape Breton from the mainland of Nova Scotia was long a transportation problem. First, canoes and rowboats bridged the gap. Then steam, car, and train ferries supplied the connecting link. As the years passed and villages grew into towns, the islanders dreamt of a more permanent bond between the Celtic Isle and the mainland. The Cabot Trail is no longer truly named. In actual fact, it is 185 miles of modern highway encircling the scenic beauty of the Cape Breton Highlands National Park. It cuts its inspiring way around and through towering forest-clad mountains and 390 acres of primeval wilderness, a natural sanctuary for wildlife often glimpsed in passing. It emerges from highland hills to skirt the coast, where Atlantic surf caresses the beaches or crashes thunderously against the bold cliffs. It crawls down mountainsides so high that an angry sea looks passive. From lowland to summit, from crest to base, the trail unfolds until the gates of the park open to Celtic Lodge and the old Gaelic greeting, 100,000 welcomes.
Hey man, So, we're gonna start this or what?
You got it, bud.
Okay, cool. My name's Lee Frazier. Sorry, well, I'll try that again. My name's Lee Frazier, and I run a company called Live Life Intense based in Marguerite Forks, Cape Breton Island. We are an adventure brand, campground, outfitter, and tour operator. I grew up in rural Marguerite, and we spent a lot of time outside. We had to get really creative on what we did growing up, which was, building tree houses, going for hikes, trying to find waterfalls, biking backcountry roads, that sort of stuff. There wasn't much to do in Marguerite growing up. Dad ran Boy Scouts when we were little kids, so I was pulled out of beavers, backpack strapped to my back. My first hike I did was Paul's Cove. That kind of really set a standard for me when it came to being outside and adventure tourism.
I don't have much left of these. This is like my vehicle. I just refuse to buy a new one.
I kind of just bolted out after high school and got to Halifax with the plan of being like a superstar DJ in Halifax, which I quickly found out doesn't really exist here. So I fell back on going to trade school, which then led me into the world of underwater welding and commercial diving and offshore diving. That's kind of what I did for the majority of my 20s. And once I got home, I DJ'd clubs, which then led into promoting club nights and led into building my own club nights. And spent the majority of my 20s in a very different place and living a different lifestyle than I do now. Live Life Intense started in late 2016, and we started by buying $5,000 worth of camping gear, hiking gear from Mountain Equipment Co-op in Halifax. At the time, a friend of mine was also in the middle of setting up his tourism business, which would be Jeremy Smith, CBOS Paddleboards. And we kind of thought about it for a minute, and I said, you know what? It would be amazing if we could both launch at the same time and both help one another out and grow our industry in Marguerite and really work together and have fun during the summer.
How's it going? Cool. Beautiful morning, though. Some coffee in there? There should be. So I'm Jeremy Smith. My company is CBOS Paddleboards. I'm based out of Marguerite. The whole west side of the island is my overall goal, but for argument's sake, we're Marguerite, Marguerite Harbor, Marguerite River. So I grew up just outside of Shetty Camp in Granitang, where I ended up going to Cape Breton Highlands Academy, which was an amalgamation of Marguerite and Shetty Camp. And that's where I met Lee, and we hit it off, and we've been good buds since then. It's warm here. I'm just showing them off this.
Oh, good.
My first time paddleboarding was in Vancouver on Granville Island, just straight out of the brewery. I went and I hopped on a board. And I kind of fell in love with the whole thing at that point. And then I graduated high school, and a friend of my father started a sea kayak company up in Shetty Camp. It was called Scotia Sea Kayaks, and he hired me on. They're more like support. You want to keep it as straight in as possible, in close to the board. If you're paddling out like that, you're going to be going, in the opposite direction. Okay. So originally CBOS Paddleboards was going to be a kayak company. Kind of sat on it for a while. I basically burned through my 20s in a very irresponsible way, I guess. I just wasn't ready to settle down and grow up and all that. So the year that I turned 30, that's when I made the firm decision to kind of move back here and start doing this. So the first year of operation for me was in 2016. It was very much a pilot project. It was kind of research and development. It didn't look anything like it does now. There was no structured tours. I was just going everywhere. I was just trying to see where this worked, where it was hitting. So all up and down the beaches in Shetty Camp, Marguerite. To get back into the game, I went and I worked for Angelo at North River Kayak.
Oh, okay. So what do you want me to talk about kayaks? Is that what you want?
I'm Angelo Spinazzola. I run North River Kayak Tours here in North River Bridge on the Cabot Trail in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia for the last 26 years. I was working for a cable crew. I was climbing telephone poles on spurs, pulling up fiber optic cable. And I quit that job, and I was paddling out here, as I have been since I was a kid. And I looked over, and there's my line crew on the telephone pole on the other side of the water. And I was still trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. And I looked over there and I was sitting in the kayak and the light just flashed. It was like, okay, I get it. This is what I want to do. I'm going to give it a shot. So I raised $10,000 and borrowed $10,000 and ran it out of my dad's basement next door, out of his bungalow. Nobody really believed in it at the start. They thought it was crazy. So here's my fleet of kayaks. This is, there's more over here, but this is the main fleet. So we got singles and doubles. Necky, Current Designs, Wilderness Systems, lots of different types. I started off with 4 to 6 kayaks. Now I've got probably 30 cockpits. I got 4 staff. And I started off for the first 5 years by myself. A lot of people that I've trained over the years, they have started their own companies. I could name you 5 right now, 5 kayak companies that started from here, where they came, trained here, learned for a year or 2, and then went off and started their own companies. Jeremy used to work here. You know, he was guiding kayak tours, and then he said, I'm going to start my own business. Yeah, I guess I am a mentor. So come on in, and this is where the clients meet us when they come. They get out of their cars, they come down into the Welcome Center. And this is where we sign in, we do our waivers, and we have our merchandise here. Hats, jackets, shirts, our own brand of tea, soaps, CDs. We sell all kinds of stuff here. Like, kayaking is just a vessel for me to allow myself to learn about other people and for other people to learn about me. I'm more interested in people than I am kayaking, to be honest with you. Like I said, kayaking is just the vessel to get to the people. And then the people learn from me and I learn from them. And we share experiences and we help each other get through life via sea kayak.
So what's awesome now about the adventure tourism sector on the island is that you've got people that are not even from Cape Breton Island that are moving there. In some cases, they're really injecting into the community.
My name is Jay Rodding. I live on the Cabot Trail on the North Shore. My town's called Skirdu, and I own Highland Bow and Arrow. It's an outdoor archery range and a 3D trail in the back in the woods. I'm actually originally from East Preston. I grew up there. It's just outside Dartmouth, and moved here. I was 27. I worked a really crazy nonprofit job, and life was really hectic, and I didn't really feel like I was actually living and doing some of the things that I wanted to and enjoying any part of nature. I felt like I was too busy for it. So I needed to kind of abruptly make a change on that. So I moved to Cape Breton. I took a job on the Cabot Trail managing a resort. It was a really outdoor-centered place, and I realized pretty much from my first moment accepting that job that I could just change my whole life, and that's what I did. I knew it wouldn't be hinged on my job. I knew that that job was going to be a bridge to whatever I chose to do, whatever was waiting in my entrepreneurial thoughts. I knew that I could just do it here. So this is one of these spots where the distance is actually really deceiving. It's very short, but it seems a lot further away. I stick a carp right around the edge of this little pond. So your stake is up here, and you're shooting pretty much straight down. It's an interesting shot. I started archery actually as a relaxation thing and to be outside. It's also a solo activity, so you're not really competing with a whole bunch of people other than yourself, which is kind of nice. The hunting aspect kind of came into it because of how I grew up, but from a totally different angle. I had a very ethically driven father when it came to hunting and stuff like that. So I learned a lot in that regard. And when you get into the bow hunting world, it's truly, truly more so about that, because you're not shooting a gun. You're shooting something that there's a huge margin of error, and you want to make sure that you're doing it properly so that you're not hurting any animals or causing any harm. So I found that really interesting. It kind of melded my belief system around food and our environment with you know, sport and something pretty relaxing. One thing that Cape Breton does, or the people of Cape Breton do incredibly well, is spend time with each other. And I think that's what a lot of our tourists are seeking in a way. They're trying to spend time with their families or the people that they've brought with them on this trip. There's not a lot of times where you're in a city and you're staring at each other across a bonfire and there's no music and there's nothing going on other than that. In the city, you're not dropping by your friend's house for tea randomly. You're calling, oh, is it okay if I come over? And I get a huge enjoyment out of stripping people from that. Having them operate genuinely, where they're not, oh, is it okay if I use the bathroom? I want them to feel comfortable and just enjoy the time, and I love that. That's kind of what I am trying to get them to experience when they come here.
By your still waters, save a place for my daughter. Oh, with your spirit, the way it's dark, how I feel it. A shaky heart is a courier to guide her through the gray. Through all the world with my daughter, I'm broken in phases, and I can't begin to unmake it. The winter's hymn is a worry heard beside me on my way. Father, if you hear, could you call her? Save a place for my daughter, for my
My name is Bryson Stryker Lyons. I'm living in Cape North. I run the Highlands Hostel with my beautiful wife, Patricia Sawyer, and our kids, Cassius Lucky Lyons and Billy Rose Lyons, and we're loving life. And what else do you want to hear? Well, some guys contacted me. They're skating against cancer going from east to west, and they want me to promote their cause. So at the time, my website had like 2 million hits a month, and it was easy to throw up a poster, but I decided might as well hit the road and start pushing east and help promote them. So along the way, people kept on saying, oh, you skateboard downhill. Well, you gotta get to Cape Breton Island, you gotta go to Cabot Trail. So that was in my mind as we were crossing the country, may I get into Newfoundland? Yeah, made it to Newfoundland and then finished the push for the Kier there. And then after that, hitchhiked to, I guess it's St. Anne's, where that, the lobster, you get off the highway and there's that place where you can eat lobster. The first hill I rolled up to, I couldn't even skate. And at that point, I was riding all of the Rocky Mountains barefoot, chasing semis, chasing, big logging trucks, drafting them and fucking crashing all over the highways and just like crazy. Then I come here and I couldn't skate the first hill. I'm like, whoa, this is Canada? Like, you gotta be kidding me, this is in Canada? Ended up driving past this church, didn't even know it, and showed up to North Mountain. And again, I was just like, holy shit, this is almost out of my range. And I tried from 3/4 up and almost, I was skating for my life. And then the other side of north, so northwest, you could break 100 on that. And I ripped that one, that was good. And then I showed up to Mackenzie. And I was like, I can't skate this one either. Like, this is Canada, man. Like, I've done everything in the West. And I couldn't skate Mackenzie either. And I skated French and got some shots almost. Look, there's a picture of me skating. Randy took a photo of me. There's a moose running in front of me. And I was like, that classic, you come around the bend of French and it's like beautiful and you see the rolling hills. Well, I'm standing there and there's a moose running in front of me. And I just fell in love. It was the music, it was the hills, it was like the skating, the seafood, the people, everything. And I just swore I'd be back one day. And so I was running the F-Bomb tour. I got this 33-foot RV that I ran. It's pretty much the original hostel. So this is the F-Bomb 454 Chevrolet. It's a beauty. It's been across America and back, across Canada and back. It's been to Newfoundland twice. This part up here, we were going, what's that? In America somewhere where it's like where all the faces are in stone. All the presidents. Well, I was chasing some riders down the hill and we ripped into a tunnel, ripped off the awning, tore it open like a tuna can, man. Yeah.
This is the back over here.
Yeah, that's where all the action happened. So I got 11 bunks in here. Everything still works. Yeah. This thing even starts up still. Oh. This is our outlaw, so anytime we went to a town and had an outlaw race, whoever was on this RV would race, and whatever hill it was, they'd get their name on the Crib Bomb Outlaw Shit Show trophy. They'd win and drink beer out of this thing. Okay, let's see. Oh, I don't know. It doesn't look like it's gonna start. Dead. Remember yesterday? Basically, really, like before we had the bunks, we'd have 1, 2, 3, 17, 18, 19. You could fit 21 in here easy, man. And then the guy got crazy, kicked out the door in Calgary. It's not hot yet, but it might get hot. I don't know. How hot you got? Oh, you feel it kind of fucking. What was left on was I disconnected the battery just a second. And every weekend I have a new crew, and it's an international crew that flies in. So after driving the same highway, skating the same hills, crashing all over the place, I was like, I gotta take this tour across Canada. So to Cape Breton Island. We did 3 rounds around the trail, and I skated the fuck out of these guys, and they loved it. Then I took them to the beaches like I swam in, we slept, we did it all. We did everything I did to fall in love with this place the first time. And while I was doing that, giving them that experience, I had it again myself. And on my way home, about 2 in the morning, all the babies were sleeping in the back. I go to Stewie, I said, I think I'm done in the West, man. And I got home, I looked online, first thing that popped up for sale was this church, and there was this photo, and it was like, I couldn't believe it, and I almost had enough money for it, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And this energy in this church is like none other. It's definitely a place of healing.
Well, the river runs right here, right? So behind there. This is a high bank and the river is low. And this is basically the boundary to the national park. So this is it. My name is Jimmy Peterson. I'm a fly fishing guide on Cape Breton Island. I'm originally from Denmark. Really, you could say what made me find this place was a small article in a fly fishing magazine. And that little tiny article, I guess, changed the direction of my life. Overall, really, that's what made me find this place. That's what put this place on the map. And when I got here, and I was here as a young man reading that article, I just came here and started fishing and exploring here, the place, and it got under my skin, and it never left. So I kept coming back for more, and it was like time stood still here or something, and I like that. I've done many things, but fishing was always there, and I don't think I would have been here had I not had fishing. When life was hard, when you were a teenager or growing up being a young man, it was my church. It was the place I went to reset, to think about what I wanted to do, to have peace. And one thing for sure, when you go fishing, there's peace. I've given up fishing several times and taken it on again because my reasoning for why I do it kept changing. I have a lot of whys I do what I do. It's a complex question, and it keeps altering and changing. And I don't think it's the last change that I've experienced in fishing. And now I'm guiding, and I love this. I love guiding. I love sort of passing on the torch and helping people. And I love to see that excitement that they have the first time they hook a fish, or the 15th or the 20th time they hook a fish. Doesn't really matter, because I can't have that feeling anymore. Because I've caught so many fish that I don't get as excited as I did when I was 14 or 20. So, but I get to relive it through you, because you're excited. So we share, I help you, and you are actually helping me back, because I get to relive that moment of your first salmon. And that's pretty special. I want to catch a fish every day, but I don't, right? It's a strange contradiction. And I want it to be hard and not easy, but that's a strange contradiction too. So it's a matter of level, I guess. You know, hard but not too hard, easy but not too easy. We're hard to please. It's a funny paradox, because we do need to catch a fish, but it's just about everything revolving that. Trying to do it is what it's about. It's trying to do it, that's about. That's the game, to try to do it. And to try to do it, you need to be out here. You need to be in the environment. You need to love the environment, otherwise it's gonna be a long, boring try. But I think most of us love just being out here, and this gives us a reason to just be here all day. And we're in this environment and here trying to do this, everything stands still. There's no problems. You have no problems. There's nothing, everything stands still in life, and all you can try and solve is catching that fish. Doing a perfect cast, honing your skills, and just, life is simple. And I think in a world that has complexity beyond anything that I think anybody ever had before us, this is simple. So people want simple things like fly fishing and golf and other things that you can learn, and it's just in the moment, you're not thinking about anything but fishing. Challenge everybody has is the same, and it's patience. We try to do things too fast, too soon. We try to force the pace of it, make it happen. And same thing with fly fishing.
So this is your routine every day?
Yeah, this is how it goes every day. Pump them up. Like 68.
68. How long does it take you?
Sometimes you have 2 people, it takes like half an hour. But this might take like an hour. Oh, what's going on, eh?
What's up, bro? Tubing all day.
Got the crowd in the back.
I don't know how many seats are back there. So we're doing 11 o'clock trip to the river. We do like 4, and today we're doing 5 trips. Starting at 11, noon, 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, today we're doing probably 70 people on the river.
Yeah.
The best place to get in is out into the current, like way out towards the other side. If you need to, these are easy if you're going to paddle them. You can lean back, use your hands. If you have flip-flops, you can use those too, or just lay on your stomach. So this is Marguerite River tubing. This is stuff we did as we were little kids. Last year we had a bunch of people tubing. We walked out and he just on cue, salmon breached, hooked it in a fly, and then we watched him for like 20 minutes reel it in right across the river. It's crazy. So people got to experience not only tubing on the river, but get to see somebody catching a salmon. And we watched him for 20 minutes reel it in right across the river. It's amazing. Woo! We're in Live Life Intense. It's August. Yeah, we just filmed. We just filmed for 2 days. We've been flat out here since probably like the end of June, summers like that. We've been pretty like busy all summer, like everything. Like tubing's been like swamped. The campground's been booked up completely pretty much for like the majority of the summer. I mean, it's been a kind of a crazy summer where none of us have really talked to one another, and the only time I've been able to talk to any of these people, Jay or Bryson or Angelo or you know, well, Jeremy I see almost every day because he comes on site and his tour is right next to my place, and so I see him. But and like Jimmy I see once in a while, but majority of the time I run into Jimmy on the river. That's the only time I ever see him in the summertime. But yeah, all of us doing our own thing, and everybody's getting super busy, so we that's the whole name of the game.
So we traveled around the trail again to check in and see how everyone's summer was going. We even got to visit some other cool businesses along the way. First up was Angelo at North River Kayaks. Better?
You're never gonna lend me that jacket again.
No, I'll lend it to you. I'll just have to readjust it. Okay, we're good to go?
Yeah.
That's my baby. See, they're stealing all my gear.
There couldn't be a better place to be located for this business. It's protected, it's got the mountains around it, it's got the water, it's fairly protected. Out in the harbor and bay is fairly protected. So you don't have the big ocean swell. So 95% of our trips get out. Early in June we lost a bunch, but that was it. And now we're getting out almost every day, and the last month has been just phenomenal. The weather has been unbelievable. And it's been one of the best weather years I can remember in many years.
So yeah, we just visited Angelo Spinazzola up in North River Kayaks. He's been crazy busy this summer. We're out ripping some drones. Nice to see Angelo. I haven't seen him in I haven't seen him in a couple weeks since he was down to a concert at my place for Garrett Mason back a couple weeks ago. So it's nice to see that he's swamped and busy as hell. But yeah, now we're heading up to Wreck Cove, visit Jay Rodding, who is obviously Highland Bow and Arrow.
That it's great because it's an ambidextrous bow. So you've got, you're going to be shooting right on this side and left on this side. But yeah, the summer's been, this would be my 3rd summer, so I kind of expected things to be settling in a little bit, and they certainly have. Appointments and people coming back from previous years. We have somebody here right now shooting, came back 2 years ago. So that's starting to get interesting because I'm actually seeing people who are picking up their skills from the last time they were here, and it's more successful, and we're doing the 3D trail that they've never tried before, and they're totally trying out skills on that because it's a very different way of shooting. Most of what I am trying to combat is the mentality that it's really easy and that you can just pick up a bow and use it. It's not that easy. It's especially not that easy to get successful. So having an hour shoot is really so much better for me, for the customer, than having people who drop in and want to shoot like 12 arrows and leave. Most of my job is dealing with ego. Most of my job is lessening ego and slowing people down.
I'm Martin Cable from Czech Republic originally. I work, or I'm the development director for Cape Smoky Holding. That's where we are in beautiful Ingonish. When I was probably 12 years old, we as a whole family came visit here, and everybody fell in love with the pristine nature, what is around here. You know, it's quite lovely. It's you know, you don't realize probably when you're living here that what a gem it is. It's stunning in every way. Most of the people here in the community, they even claim that they grew up on this hill, and you can see the dedication, what they have to display and what kind of connection they have to it. They held up over, I think, 15 years or 12 years as a volunteer, held the group, and they invested everything what they had to keep this place running. You know, it's close to my heart to see so much dedication from a group like that to keep something open and thinking of the children for the future. And it's very important for us to make it a 360-day resort. You know, we have it in a couple phases separate this development project. The first phase, as I mentioned before, is building the gondola and the tree walk and remodeling the lodge below. This will be phase 1, and we hope, as I mentioned again, in 2021 for Canadian Day to be open.
And if they roll the 1, they'd have to shotgun a beer, and we'd leave them there. If they roll a 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, you guys need a fucking ride. Get in, guys, get in. If they get a 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, they get to come on, and if they roll the 4 or 5, they get that many beer. So it comes down to how important is liquor to you. You know? But that's the old ways. That's all. That's retired. This is the beach runner now, the Highlands Hostel beach runner. We pick everybody up, and nobody rolls the dice.
So it's been overall though, it's been a great summer. Can't complain.
Wicked summer. We opened the bottom half of the church, so we got 11 more bunks now, and I mean we could hold 25 people at a time, and the campfires are packed. We need to buy more seats. If we run out of room, we got 11 bunks in here. So, yeah, this is beautiful Dingwall Harbor, eh? You got to respect the fishermen around here. Yeah! Yeah, it's a beautiful place. Couldn't have had it any other way. I'll die in these mountains, man. This is where I want to be. That's our crew. They're staying at the hostel tonight, eh?
No way.
Yeah. So we do that. They were down here, so we wanted to show up with the music and create a nice atmosphere for them while they're down here, right? They didn't expect me to come down, right? White points over there, money points over there. When people walk in here, I love them to walk in here and hear Cape Breton fiddle music. From there, I grab their phones, I find out what they want to do, and I make sure that they know the area. They got to know the area. And then nighttime, I have a fire every night. We have a raging fire, go get wood every couple days, and we burn it all off. And a lot of people come from, like, we have people from New York, we have people from all over the place, and a lot of them get fires, so fire's healing. Very important to have that fire. It's a good place to just relax, and what a better place than the top of the Cape Breton Northern Highlands, you know?
Along with adventure tourism operators, there's also a growing number of people moving back home, opening pubs, restaurants, and cafes, bringing with them the influences they've gained from living and traveling elsewhere. Just some of those examples are places like the Dancing Goat and L'Abri Café and Bar in Shedicamp.
So I'm Jared Felix. I own L'Abri Café, Restaurant et Bar in Shedicamp. So we always kind of had like dreams and ideas of returning, except we didn't really know when that would be. And as we saw like development happening in Cape Breton, less and less properties available, we thought that now would be the time. Yeah, it's been fun. I guess we've worked more than we ever have in our entire lives, but there's just something rewarding about working for yourself. Doesn't matter what you're doing. If you have to scrub your toilet, it's your own toilet. It makes it a lot better. But also building a team and creating jobs and opportunities for people who are here or who want to be here. That's been really rewarding.
Like most people from Cape Breton that live away, you always have that longing to be back here. Goat started in 2006, so we're 13, 14 years old now. I was told that it wouldn't work, and that came from local people, it came from financial institutions, it came from government, just wasn't going to work. And so I had to set out and do it on my own. You know, and I was fortunate enough that the business grew to a point where I could hire more people, I could delegate a bit more and that sort of thing. So we're at a good place right now, like as far as balance of quality of life.
Moving to Cape Breton and starting a business is challenging enough on its own, but what most people don't realize is that you really only have a 4 to 5 month window to operate in. That can be made even shorter if the weather doesn't cooperate, and add in the problem of finding staff and even more problems of finding staff housing, and you have a recipe for a lot of long days and no sleep.
Cool, thanks for letting me charge it. No problem.
Have a good one.
This weather is shit. All right, watch out for the trailer. Yeah, so we did, this morning was kind of a shit show. Weather hits us, which is always an issue down here. So this is August 26th. Getting hit with a hurricane all goddamn day. Insane.
I find the last couple of weeks of August usually really come to a standstill here.
What you do?
Yeah, like kind of the north winds move in, it scares people off. I'm not looking forward to it ending because like I'm making more money than I would on a regular job around here.
Yeah.
So, and it's like I'm on the river, I'm on the beach every day, I'm like living my best life, and don't really want it to end. Kind of want it to end. June sucks. Like really, you think you'd want to be able to start in June, but it's just you got north winds, and with me, north winds shoot up the river. You're fighting it a lot of the way. You're not really enjoying it as much.
One of the things we're going to see this summer is what's going to happen, because for the first time in our history here, last year the river got shut down because of heat. Nobody knows what that's going to do to the economy in this little community. There's many, myself included, that rely on that, and there's other people that rely on it, and then many people that rely on it indirectly.
There's a lot of facets to even think about. I mean, the weather and our environment and climate is one thing, because, as the summers get hotter, as the rivers dry up for Jimmy, but there's all kinds of examples of this.
It is what it is. You can't control it. You can't change that. That's the thing. We're out there with people, and the conditions are changing constantly. And you're out there, and you're doing the best you can as a guide to recognize the changes, react to the changes, and get their butts back here safe.
A lot of what we do on the Cabot Trail is staff people who love being outdoors, so they're using some pretty unique and interesting accommodations while they're working somewhere.
One of the biggest challenges today is staffing. When you live in a small community, you don't have a large pool to pull from. But if I was to bring people in, I don't know where they'd stay.
It's a pretty big endeavor for us in our first year to have to look into staff housing, but unfortunately that's what we had to do is look into expanding in our first year and buying more property just to house staff.
It's kind of difficult because you want to get the right people to work for you. And you got a small pool around here.
And I still need to fill a position. And I'm doing all the tours myself because I don't have that person in the position.
I'm at the precipice of being burnt out. Whereas last year at this time, I was like extremely burnt out because I was doing, between myself and Allie and Isaac, who was doing part-time, we had to do everything from housekeeping to tubing every day, which is like a full-time job.
We had some fun times, but mostly hard work. Yeah, no sleep. But you get out here and you forget about all that shit.
In sharing these challenges, we've really been able to help one another out and give each other advice. One person who's helped out a lot of newer businesses has been Angelo from North River Kayak Tours.
There's food here too I brought down for you guys. Oh man, smell that one. Oh, that one is black licorice. Local soap. We support the local soap factory in Ingonish. I kind of look at it as like a community. And I like to support people in any way, shape, or form that I can to make sure that they become successful. Because I love this island and it has a lot to offer other people, like Lee's business or Jeremy's business. Yeah, like we went from, all lots of kids and families and family groups down to like baby boomers and just couples traveling around, like even my age, just traveling around. And it was a busy day. Yeah, there. What's going on?
I think everybody's kind of interacted with Angelo at some point before they went off and did this. Angelo's like the godfather of the whole thing.
I've known Angelo for a long time since I moved here. It's heartwarming to have so many solid connections who are also other staples in the huge fabric that is the Cabot Trail's business world.
We're always in conversation with each other. We don't view each other as competition whatsoever. It's like we're building something here.
The more successful I am, the more successful you are. The more successful this restaurant is, the more successful this place is. Or if we create more, we create more for everybody.
High tides lift all boats, and that's kind of what we're trying to build here.
And it's cool. All these little things are cool. And I hope more people come in and start doing stuff like this and make it bigger, because the business is in its infancy right now.
To do a full circle of the trail and travel a trail, we can all work together and we can all, give people the best experience as they travel around the trail. So it's really neat to, have a network and a cool crew of young people to give people these experiences.
It's like we're neighbors, but we're like 200-300K away. But we're on the same street. So you just send them down the street.
The Cabot Trail is filled with businesses and opportunities to do activities and eat places and learn things and immerse yourself in culture, and that's the reason why people do it.
If we were in it for the money, it would be a bad reason for it. There's more to life than just, getting a paycheck, punching in your hours and all that. And we all kind of feel the same way about it. It's all about kind of celebrating our area and sharing what we have.
Cape Breton Island's been traditionally a cultural destination, and that's been what's widely marketed, but now it's becoming an adventure tourism destination. It's become an adventure tourism hub.
This here is just a start. Cape Breton is just beginning.
It's just starting. I mean, I was lucky 26 years ago to get into it and nurture it, help make it to where it is now. But I hope it goes double what it is now, because there's so much potential.
We're kind of on the forefront of creating it. Angelo definitely was. He's 25 years in the business, but we're all about 4 or 5 years in, and we really support each other. It's it's all about kind of celebrating our area and sharing what we have.
Without some of these businesses, you wouldn't be going into these communities. You wouldn't be going deep into Dingwall. It's our businesses that actually expand the perspective on what's actually here in Cape Breton, because otherwise you're just in a car.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet, you know, the whole dynamics of it all and the whole dynamics of the island. And
yeah, we got a great community of people that are pulling it all together.
What we're doing is also changing people's mind to really love where they live and where we are, and appreciate that we need these kind of spaces. We need parks, national parks. We need designations and designated wilderness areas, because those are the heartbeat of everything. You can live in the city and be happy there, that's great. But without that area nearby or close by where nature can live and be wild, there's no survival without that.
I think Cape Breton's just like begging for more. Like, there's so much opportunity here. That's probably the number one reason we came here, was the opportunity.
There's a big future ahead of us if we all stick to our guns and do it, and I feel like we all are.
And so we all help each other out immensely. I mean, I send people the Dancing Moose, they send them back here. It's a huge exchange. Jeremy from CB West just sent me some people yesterday, and you know, it's a huge back and forth that I really appreciate.
It's great, so I promote them from here, I promote them on the phone. When people call just for a kayak tour, it's not just a kayak tour. I give them information to tubing, to Lee, to Jeremy, whatever they're looking for. I try to direct them in that way.
And that's the mindset I want, and that's the mindset I think fit with Lee and his idea of what things are here and what we're trying to create.
In every instance, those same people are turning around to help me with Highland Bow and Arrow.
And the more of a community we are, and the more we stick together, work together, support each other, so that becomes like a family, and it becomes it becomes culture, and people will be attracted to that because they want to be part of that.
Down in this valley there is fire all around me. Down in this valley there's fire on the lake. There ain't no looming shadow in my lonesome valley. Just put me in the smoke and I will rise to heaven then. Down in this valley there are devils all around me. Devils all around me. Cloven-footed thieves. I was shutting my eyes. I was shutting my eyes. Put me in the smoke and I will rise to heaven then. In this prison I will weep, burn and gnash my teeth. When the wicked come, I'll be alone, but not for long. She will scatter me when the wicked come. I commit my body, let the wicked come. I commit my body, let the wicked come. I commit my body, let the wicked come. Find me in the smoke and we will rise to heaven then.
Yeah, I got this police light, eh? Well, around here, there's only 80 people from the gas station to the top of the hill, the church there. So, you know, not a lot of cops around here. Meet down at the dock. The guys all meet down at the dock once a year and for a good shit kicking, and toughest guy, last man standing, is the local cop. Well, anyway, I throw these lights on. We got 80 kids from the top to the bottom. We got to keep them safe. So people come by with a loud muffler, or they're just speeding in the kids zone here, downtown Cape North. We let them know it. So new sheriff in town, I guess.
If it doesn't,
world wasn't built on shouldas.